We got to talk about our new OC, the Fluorinator. Don't know if that's his nickname. Don't know if that's what I'm going to stick with, but what's what we're going to try for this one. We're going to be reacting to an article talking about 4 players set to have massive seasons under new offensive coordinator Brian Fleury. My thoughts, curious about your thoughts, so drop a comment, like, subscribe, all those other YouTube buttons are all things I'm supposed to tell you to do here on Seahawks Digest. What's going on, everybody? Christian Pedersen back with another show, another episode of the show that is tired of doing this long preamble and ready for the season to start, but appreciative that we're all sticking around here. Today's article, 4 Seahawks players who could benefit the most under Brian Fleury. This man, Brian Fleury, for having not called an offensive play yet in the NFL, certainly has developed a reputation for being, it seems, like a hard-nosed football-y guy who is going to be some sort of tight end whisperer. They being the people who are the NFL insiders, because I am not one, I'm just some joker on the internet, but they being the NFL insiders, I'm fascinated watching this because we did the power rankings video yesterday where they're like, well, the only reason that we are doubting the Seahawks is because of Brian Fleury. And then the next day it's articles about, oh, he's going to have these guys absolutely cooking this year. They're going to be doing great. So what do any of us even know until this all starts? Literally nothing. This guy could come out and run the wing tee. This guy could come out and run the triple option. This guy could come run like all 9. Like, we don't know until we actually have some football. But that being said, his connection with San Francisco and George Kittle and what he has developed there has people talking about the tight ends specifically. I think the last player on this list is the one that I'm actually most interested in. But Elijah Arroyo, wow, free YouTube show. You get what you get. My apologies there. They're talking about him being a tight end who is poised for a massive jump, as well as A.J. Barner. Arroyo, more of a projection out of like what could he do. Barner, more of it seems to be the vibes of, now that he has settled in as a starter, what is his ceiling? And it's interesting to me specifically with the tight end position because they are almost borderline offense. Like some tight ends are offensive line extensions that maybe go out and catch a few balls. Some tight ends are wide receiver extensions that will do some blocking. Very few of them bounce over to encompass both of those jobs, but it seems that with the philosophy of we're just going to assume that he can do what he being Fleury can do what he did with Kittle with our guys. Both of these guys, Barner and Arroyo, do potentially have the physical skill sets of being that kind of dual purpose weapon. And I absolutely love that because to me, then that translates into the next player on the list. That's Jadarian Price. Because when you have tight ends who are quality blockers, it adds another man that you can put up on the line. And we've actually talked specifically about A.J. Barner coming out saying, hey, I'm going to be the one out there actually chipping and going after Myles Garrett. So obviously having to deal with the Rams and Garrett is an interesting one in and of itself. But having tight ends who keep you honest because they can at any point explode for a home run ball, but at the same time are good extensions of the run game, does spill over into Price. Now, Price, that last line there in this article, the question is, how quickly can Seattle put him in a position to succeed? Price is kind of like Fleury. He's a little bit of an unknown in of that it's going to be his rookie season. But I almost love that right now. Given that Sharbs, even if he comes back as the bionic man in week 1, he's not going to be the featured 30 carry running back. So it's the room is George Halani and Jadarian Price plus probably technically needing a third back, whether that's a somewhat healthy Sharps or whoever. It's an opportunity right now where you don't have anything to lose if you're Jadarian Price, because eventually Sharps is going to be healthy. Like, he's already out there working out. Like, he's going to be back to being the dude. He's a dog. So it's a play with reckless abandon for a few weeks. He's a new OC. You have no set ways in the NFL. That seems like a perfect merger when it's also then we can power run on the outside in either direction because our tight ends are available to be part of an expanded blocking scheme. Oh, and then because if they crowd the box, we just go deep. I see the potential here where it's like, okay, if there is any truth to Fleury being able to translate over some of the educational material that he's handed out to his tight ends in previous stops, that, hey, learn the same thing, absorb some of that, translates into big for those first couple of, like those first, you pass it, you run it, it doesn't matter. Everybody on this list is benefiting from it. The last person, though, that they bring up here, and I think that this is the one that I actually think is poised for the biggest, and this is not me stealing that headline. I was already thinking this because I'm big on Rashid Shaheed. The ceiling for him is really, really high. And I think that it's interesting. That's that middle line there really was one that I had not thought a ton about before diving into this video. Just that one of the most overlooked aspects of offensive development is familiarity. Rashid Shaheed came in last year as a new piece to an established offense, both in terms of like what had been going on for the year and also the fact that Kubiak had been here for a minute and some of these other guys had bonded and melded. And now that it's a blank slate, there's no preconceived notions or expectations or shorthand with any of this going on of, oh, like that's our check down. That's our for sure guy on this scheme or on third or fourth or whatever it is down. And if you look at the Seahawks from an opponent's point of view, like I said, stop the run. You got to still put JSN as your primary, like that's who you put your one on, right? So then you are probably going to see some games where they'll, depending on the formation and how stuff line up, he might be dealing with like a 3, because if you got Cupp having himself it's a deep wide receiver core that if then also there are tight ends who, well, we can't just fully discount that anytime it's Arroyo or Barner or whoever on the line that they're not going to be able to do a little waggle out and be able to rip a 20-yard gain. Then you've got teams not able to cheat at all in any and all directions. And then if, we're talking about Rashid Shaheed being against a 2 or a 3 or a 2 with no safety help over top, all Sam Darnold's got to do is see him. And then I think you can fill in the dots or fill in the blanks from there about how that one ends. With the touchdown. So there you go. Obviously, I think I'm big on the whole offense benefiting it. I think most of you guys are, but that's just my thoughts on this article and killing 10 more minutes between now and the kickoff of this season. Thank you, everyone, for tuning in. Like, subscribe, dislike, share, comment are all YouTube buttons that I'm supposed to tell you to push every single time I'm on a Digest Media episode. Until next time, we'll talk to you guys soon.